Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue action movies galore with Sicario. It was released October 2nd, 2015, written by Taylor Sheridan and directed by Denis Villeneuve. I am Colton Robertson. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We got an interesting one today. When it came to Denis Villeneuve, obviously in the year of our Lord 2024, we're quite happy with Denis.
Very much so.
Dune 2 came in, slapped us across the face, and let us know just how good of a filmmaker he was. I'd seen two Denis films prior to that in the first Dune and Blade Runner 2049. So I've only ever watched his epic sci-fi big movies. And I've always heard good things about this. In fact, this isn't the first Sicario movie I've watched.
Yeah, that was also a realization me mid-movie, is I have somehow seen the second one, or I don't even know, but this one, never.
I've watched Day of the Soledad. I don't know why I watched the second one before I watched this one. I'd never seen this. I had seen Sicario 2.
Mm-hmm. Probably
I
would have
remember
made
finishing.
That make much more sense, you know?
I actually do remember. Me, my mom, and dad watched Sicario 2 years ago. But it was Sicario Day of the Soledad. It's not Sicario 2. It's Sicario Day of the Soledad. So we watch it, we finish it, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a sequel. And we go and we look for it, and it's just Sicario. And we're like, huh. I think we watched the sequel. So like, if you want to watch the sequel without watching the first, you can. It has no bearing on one another. It might have helped a little bit, but I appreciate being dropped in the action, and that's something that this movie already does very well. I've noticed this with Denis Villeneuve films, is that his characters feel lived in. You know, they existed before the first scene starts, and they will exist after the last scene ends. You know, like it's just a little snapshot of what they're doing. And so I appreciated that this film, it felt like we were dropped in the middle of something, and you were just like, all right, we'll pick it up from here. How'd you feel about Sicario on your first watch?
Yeah, I love Villeneuve. Is that correct? Because every time I ask like Google or a automated voice responds, it is Villeneuve. And they kind of don't say the last part.
Yeah, it's Villeneuve.
Maybe it's just for an English Google, it's a little tough to say Villeneuve. But
it's
no,
also it's a name. I used to think it was Denis Villeneuve. Also, It's Denis. It is.
Okay.
It is the French version of Canadian French. I'm pretty sure Denis is Canadian.
But I'm liking him. I'm liking him a whole lot. And even though that Sicario isn't necessarily my kind of movie, and it's just anything that deals with modern day war, it's kind of whatever. Like on the actual soldier side of it, you know, like a movie like Civil War, when it was like the journalistic side of it, that's really cool. That was something different that I could get behind in like a modern war movie. But like, and this isn't really war in the traditional sense, I guess, where it's country v country. It's
shadow.
Yeah,
it's shadow war. It's something that's happening, and you know, we hear about, but we don't see, and we don't know, and you know, stuff like that. So like, I'm with you. It's a good movie. It's well done. I can recognize that it's well performed. It's exquisitely well shot. I love Roger Deakins' cinematography here and Roger Deakins' cinematography at large. I loved the score. The score actually stuck out to me a lot. I thought that the music was beautiful. And that's the thing, is that like on paper, this is a great fucking movie. And I think that like, and beyond on paper, like watching the movie, it's a good movie. You can recognize it's a good movie. It's just, you know, it's not one that I have any desire to watch again. It's not one that
doesn't make you feel good, you know.
No, it certainly doesn't.
Kind of only going downhill, you know. There's not really much hope at all. It like you'd expect the ending to kind of be like this, look, we've had some little win on our front, with some win, but really, like,
I mean, in the context of the film, technically a victory.
Yes.
No,
yes.
but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you
Yes.
mean. I'm with you too, because
Emotional
I mean that's
victory.
where my favorite line of the movie comes into play, and it was delivered by Alejandro, where he says, "Nothing will make sense to your American ears, and you will doubt everything we do, but in the end, you will understand."
Yeah.
And the way that culminates in the final scene of the movie, which is a powerhouse scene in the movie, and that's the thing, is that like, it's good. Like I can watch it and know like this is a quality film. There was part of me. It's fascinating watching that last scene where I almost, when he says everything, in the end you will understand.
Mm-hmm.
She signs those papers, and you want her to sign those papers because you want her to live.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a part of me that didn't want her to sign those papers, and I wanted him to shoot her. Like, just like if we're going
weird,
all in on this angle of the movie, go all in on this angle of the movie.
I think her actually signing it proves the point they're trying to show even more, that it's unstoppable. Like this is it comes from the higher. They even say like we don't. Well, it's not. I guess Alejandro and it's who did she talk to in the bank? Whenever that guy just kind of sat down and was like, yeah, I mean, this is how it is, we can't really arrest him. It's suspicious, but it's not illegal.
Yeah,
and
I love that actor.
yeah, what is he in? What
you might recognize him from Titanic, Victor Garber.
the captain, or like does he look at the clock?
He was the architect. Yeah, he built the ship and was like, but he's also in the Arrowverse. He's in Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. He plays Firestorm, the guy who combines with the other guy, and they form like a fire entity, nuclear energy guy. So yeah, incredible cast, and I love Victor Garber. I love his voice. There's something like so silky about the way he speaks, and I appreciate that a great deal. But yeah, he seems to be not the FBI director, but at least definitely the head of whatever division she observes.
Yeah, because I mean, even he was like, I don't make these decisions. Like you might think I have the authority to send a soldier on an airplane or go to this air base or do all this stuff, but
these are decisions made by people elected to office, not appointed to it.
And I guess true, and that's like a little detail that is like the scariest part, is because like you think that it's just all these evil people making these decisions and wanting to incite war to get for their gain, but at the end of the day, like, we did elect those people, and is it truly coming from all of them? We have who knows. I don't.
Well, and I think what he's alluding to is like presidential power. I don't think he's alluding to like congressmen.
Yeah, because who else could be above
the FBI? Like, you're not getting sent. Like, there's no random senator who's like, yeah, so we need to fight this fucking war underground. I mean, like, maybe certain speakers within the House who have found themselves in certain positions, like, speaker or senators lead different committees, and maybe those committees end up having an effect on sorts of things. Like, so like it's stuff like that. So like, I mean, we're talking, we're not talking the congressman of your district here. We're talking we're talking the senator who runs your state, or the president of the United States. And that's like, it's an interesting movie, man. It's interesting.
The language of war, it's like, and like the CIA is just one thing that I go back and forth on a lot. It's like, it really shouldn't exist. Like, we do not like to go to other countries and to just, I don't know, it is just very oppressive, just naturally oppressive. Like, we will always do in our best interest, and no matter what. And like,
And that's what's insane is it's not technically an American agency.
Huh?
There's a part of this movie where they go, we need a in order to operate on domestic grounds, we need a domestic agency.
Well, I think, that does mean that CIA is...
They can't operate without the FBI on American soil. They can't operate without...
That was the biggest, fuck. Like, whenever he was like, well, that's why we need you here. And then they're like, and Daniel Kaluuya loved his character, by the way. He was, he's
Reggie. My favorite.
Reggie was really cool. And him being like, we should walk right now. Mm-hmm. Like, they can't
Get the fuck out of here.
Like, because if they do walk right then and there, they can't go on with their mission, right? Mm-hmm. Or do they? But it's just never known to anybody. Is that is like they can do it by the book and have her sign the paper, and that it is by the book and everything. So if anything does come out, it's good. But say she walks, do they go anyways? At least Alejandro.
Yes. I think because she was there for the briefing, I think that's all that mattered. Was that he was like, you don't need to go. Like, you were here just now.
Oh.
You know we're going.
The very fact that she volunteered is all it took.
All it took. Like, they are now in work with the FBI.
Damn. Yeah.
So, that... And obviously, the CIA is an American agency, but it was fascinating to kind of recontextualize it in this sense where it's like,
it doesn't
we can't technically operate.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's insane. It's the CIA is a despicable entity.
They are quiet on purpose. They don't lie. Sometimes they do. They just don't tell you things. It's like, and I love how at first I think it's Josh Brolin. I think it might be. Yeah, I think it is him. Matt, in here, but he asks, you got a wife or you got a husband? You married? Mm-hmm. Children?
You got
and it's
kids?
It's the first thing they ask every time to know. Can we use it against you? Like, what leverage can we use against you? Because the threats that Alejandro makes, to that one police officer at the end, you do anything, your daughters are going to be violated by 20 men. It's like, and that's just, okay, well, you got me. I can't, what the fuck else am I going to do? It's even worse than, a gun to your head, and he has that as well. So it's like, it's just, there was one line, I think it might have been closer to the end. I think Alejandro, it was. And it's like, you're not right for this world. This is a wolf's world or something like that. And and you're not a wolf, it's just.
That was one I was close to going for my line.
Alejandro delivered all the lines, I think, to me. He had one that was just kind of cool.
You should move to a small town where the rule of law still exists. You will not survive here. You are not a wolf, and this is the land of the wolves now.
Yeah. And
time to meet God. Shit like that. Dude.
You're asking me how a watch works for now. Let's just keep our eye on the time. That's just like, who is this dude? What,
bro?
God, I don't know.
I was just fucking spitting over here. No, I think that this movie operates very interestingly as just kind of that. It is just kind of interesting, qualifying it as an action film is almost diminutive of what it is, it certainly doesn't fit with the rest of the action movies we put in here.
A political film. This is much more political, or I guess global politics here.
Thriller,
North American politics, but the suspense is definitely building.
Crime action thriller,
does a very good job at building the suspense up, and the score helps a lot with that, or just when they're going on a mission. But even even when they're storming the tunnel, the climax kind of the movie, this is it, they're at the tunnel. I didn't really feel, my heart really wasn't going, I was just kind of like, oh wow, this looks really pretty. That's where my favorite shot
and I'm
comes
not
from, for
me
sure.
too. Me too.
The horizon of them walking slowly down
God
into it.
Damn.
For one, it just looks good. I love, there is something on Twitter where it's like, Denise sees a cloud formation and just goes like, "Oh, we have to get a shot here or something." Because like there
Yeah.
was a shot in Dune too where it was like
Yeah,
someone was
Chani
like,
up on the ridge, and
yeah,
yes,
and
yeah.
this one it felt kind of similar. It was like, "Oh damn, the sunset's looking
Well,
fucking
and that's
good."
what's like. I was watching this fucking mind blown because I was like, did they wait to shoot this during a storm? Like when a storm was coming?
Oh.
Is that like, did they just shoot anyway and the storm was lucky happenstance because that shit's awesome? They were like going into the dark, going into the storm, going into this, or was it like, well, we're not shooting this scene today. There's no storm, you know, like there's a storm coming. We know it'll be here within a week. We just got to wait for it, you know, like shit like that. Like it's
just good happenstance. I don't know.
It was awesome.
And
my
like,
favorite.
Oh, I don't know.
That would have been my favorite shot. If not for one like very close after it, mostly because I also knew that that's the shot of the movie. It was the shot from this movie I've seen. I've seen that like in stills. It's like directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it's a shot from Arrival, a shot from Sicario, a shot from and this is the shot from Sicario that's typically shown. But the one that I went with was a couple seconds after, again as they're heading into the tunnel, where I think it's Matt. It might not be Matt. It might just be one of the soldiers. The tunnel is on the like right center of the screen. It's just a hole, and the rest of the screen is negative space. And his silhouette walks in, and he draws his knife, and the closer he gets to the screen, the knife stays in the silhouette, and it's like so fucking cool. I was like, yep, that's the one for me. And I mean, like when it came to shooting landscapes, like goddamn.
The aerial
that's why,
shots, like and like when they're in the helicopter or like just in a plane going, and like you see the border of Mexico and like perfectly split half and half. There was like a really cool shot of part of the border where it showed the U.S. side, like a very nice, pristine, perfect road. You know, it was like perfect, and then on the other side of the border, just like just a dirt path. You know, and it's just I thought that was just perfect. You know, and then I don't know, they're just flying over some mountain ranges or something, and it's just. Let's show you. You know, let's just stick a camera straight down and we'll just show you.
God, it was just such a fascinating way to shoot broad open space. Like when there aren't mountains and it isn't mountainous and it is flat and you know, like they use the like middle of the screen to divide basically the sky and the ground and the caravans taking off, and just gorgeous, man. Like it's a brilliant example of really elegantly done naturalistic lighting.
Nighttime, like also nighttime was good at nighttime. It's not like random lighting coming from nowhere to, you know, because it's a movie and you want to see people's faces. It was
and that's the other thing is that like a lot of movies are guilty of trying for naturalistic lighting and then it's just fucking dark. You know, like you can't see anything. I'd rather you have that unnatural lighting where it is like, oh, well, at least it's interesting. At least you're trying something. At least you're going. Like this was a mix of, it's not naturalistic lighting, but they're emulating naturalistic lighting. And I think that's perfect. Because like you shouldn't be able to see as much as we do at night.
That's true.
Like you wouldn't, you know, and that's what's fucking awesome about it is that they managed to emulate that naturalistic lighting without it being naturalistic. And like there's a shot after John Bernthal's character tries to kill Emily Blunt in that apartment where it's Daniel Kaluuya sitting or standing against a wall, and there's like a light behind him right here, and his face is like trimmed by the light, but he's still silhouetted, engulfed in darkness, and he says like, "I thought he was a friend," and it's just like a really good way to like visually communicate the way that the character was feeling, you know, like I thought he was my boy, I thought that was my friend, I'm so sorry, he's feeling doomy and gloomy. Like it's just like it's so strong. It's so strong visually.
He was just a homie too. He was trying to hook her up. You know, she hasn't gotten anything in a long time. She's being stressed. She's smoking again. He's like, all right, let's go to this bar. I got a really hot friend. Let's see if they'll kick it off. And of course, you know, of course, he's got to be a piece of shit. And I love that she's like, immediately she sees this and it's not even like, hey, did you just pick this up? Like, is it a coincidence? No, I'm going to shoot you now. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. I'm in this area. You have one of these things. Goodbye. You know, and it is what a to our
And
American
again,
ears,
just,
like your line, like to our American ears, it doesn't make sense. But by the end of the movie,
you will understand.
I understand, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's devastating, and that's the. I mean, it's the point is that like by the end of this movie, the war is still going on. They did this to incite more chaos. I guess they got the big honcho though, you know. So like,
That's the thing, though, is that someone's going to rise up and fill the void. Like, that's just an inevitability. So, like...
this was just Alejandro's, like, his revenge story, you know?
His revenge, yeah.
And man, he was my favorite character, without a doubt, for so long. So long in the movie.
Till the very, very end.
Pew, pew, pew. Those... Yeah, I mean, the kids in the... You know, you're no better than him now. You know, that's...
Yeah.
If you just killed him, you walked him away, even if it was in front of his family... I would have probably still been cool with that, but like
I would have too.
Like and so I don't know if I want to pick him now. Is like I'm kind of going back and forth, but he is by far the most interesting character of the movie. I think
100%. Like there's such a fascinating dichotomy of the caring and vulnerability, the vulnerable nature he has. With Emily Blunt's Macer, is that her name?
I think, yeah, her last name, Kate Macer.
Kate Macer. Okay, yeah. The vulnerability he shows around Kate and being, you know, he's always there. He's always checking on her. He's like, "Are you okay? You know, like, is there anything I can do? What can I do for you? You know?" And she's like, and she feels comfortable with him. She feels he's literally the only guy besides Reggie, and to contrast with Matt. She despises Matt. She does not like Matt. It's very clear that she doesn't like Matt. She does have a soft spot for Alejandro, though. And the fact that Alejandro's the one who's capable of getting there with her and kind of comforting her in these moments where she obviously would not otherwise be comfortable.
Yeah. You remind me of someone that was very special to me, or like very, you know, and the fact that he is there right after. How much of this was planned? You know, they're like, she was like, he used me as bait. What the hell? You know, like, this is bullshit. And it's like, did they know that she would go to you know, like, how was and like, I think Josh Brolin like comes back and he's like, no, you used yourself as bait. We just kind of followed you, I guess. So like, maybe it wasn't like this was in the plan,
and that's
whatever, but
and the way Josh Brolin puts it after that is, you know, like, at least that's how you'll write it in your report.
Okay.
He's like,
I guess Alejandro being there though, the fact that he's there, ready to shoot, like he is sticking on Kate the whole time. Whenever
he's following,
yeah, because he was in the parking lot before they left.
When they leave, so and he's like,
oh no, I think it's just the playbook. This is like the CIA kind of playbook where we'll bring in a new Fed that is all about getting the big guy, and they haven't been able to do anything. So let's give them a real shot so that they volunteer, so that we have all the jurisdiction we want, and then let's make their life. They're gonna be shocked, like they're being brought into this life. No matter what, you're gonna go through shit. You know, like it's just guaranteed. Because at the end, it is either you sign this paper,
or you die,
or you are committing suicide, not dying. Like this is, it is made to seem like a suicide, and it would make perfect sense what she has been through,
shit.
And like, you know, and they could just explain it away. It is not like that's why the CIA and like just this whole operation is so backstabby. It's so like we're not all working together. These people have to only know the information and can't let it out, or else it could jeopardize their operation. You know, it's like, I see why they do certain things, and I see why they keep information secret, you know, but to your own people.
No, and that's,
you know,
like, that's the thing, is that like, it's one of those things, it's one of those ugly realities, like one of those things that just like, and the fact that they're maintaining an order they've possessed since the crack epidemic in the 80s,
yeah, was that the time period, the time period that was referred to when they had a monopoly, basically? Is that?
Yeah, well, that was what was happening in the 80s when we were doing the war on drugs here in America. When Reagan announced the war on drugs, it was, you know, the United States government was flooding streets of low-income neighborhoods, which were black neighborhoods, with crack cocaine, and they were picking them up and arresting them for possession of crack cocaine, even though they sold them the crack cocaine, and that all came from Colombia. And the fact that they are still, like, that is the idea, that they're still maintaining this order 30 years later, trying to, because now it's a part of it's a part of the U.S. economy, at least in this movie.
Not pharmaceutical. That's more, I guess, heroin and like making it hydrocortisone or hydrocodone or opioids. But no, this is
Percocet.
I guess different. Yeah, he does say like Matt, Josh Brolin's character is like, yeah, unless 20% of the world population decides to stop snorting and smoking this shit or injecting it, then there's not much we're
just going to keep it on rolling.
Yeah, it's like, so, but...
Well, it's like, well, actually, there probably is something you could do. It would just require actually helping people, and that's
that's
not something we're willing to do.
You get addicted to it, and you need more and more. It's not their it's their fault for doing it in the first place, but like really...
Addiction is a disease, man. It's not a...
Yeah, it's
not a...
Exactly, and that's why there's so many different things going on. There's not a clear answer. There's not a solution that is just like, oh, here's what we do, and we're going to do it.
One of those solutions would be not arresting people with drug problems and instead getting them the help they need. And when you get them the help they need, they no longer this 20% no longer needs the drugs they have.
It's like a double. It's like the U.S. is pumping it in themselves, and then also Mexico is doing their thing too. It's like it's. I don't think it's just the U.S. being the main supplier.
No.
It's like but both. It is both, and that's worse.
I mean, the drugs are everywhere. Drugs are all over the fucking world. Like it's just
a weird. Like it is just a business, but the mere fact that it's just a drug and illegal, they have to hide like it's just a weird, like, I don't know, concept to me. But then we can grow poppy, have massive opioid fields, and that's just for pharmaceutical companies, and that's legal, and that's good. But like,
it's on a smaller and yet still just every bit as big a scale is that there are people lining their pockets for legally selling weed, and there are people locked in prison still for having sold weed when it wasn't legal. And it's like, well, it's legal now. How about they shouldn't be in prison anymore? How about that?
I don't know. A lot of drugs is a weird ball game.
It's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, and I think that this movie tackles it in a really interesting way. We talked a lot about Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin's my performance.
He's
of the film
funny, dude. Like funny and serious, like everything, and like everything he needs to be. The flip flops, his whole outfit when he's just laying on the private jet, and just snoozing and like
probably okay, like that whole thing. I loved that. No, but like what I was talking about at the beginning of the show, the way the characters feel lived in. He feels like the like definitive example of that in this movie. Like he is just. He comes into this movie and he's got his character. He knows who he is, and one of my favorite things that this movie does that reminded me a little bit of a Scorsese film is the little side conversations, the stuff that, we got to the point and now here's this little extra bit that doesn't need to be in the movie, but it's good character building stuff. And Josh Brolin has several of those moments, like whenever they're leaving the briefing at the beginning of the movie, he like talks to a soldier, he's like, "Hey, what happened to the wife and kids?" And he's like, "Oh, well, damn, man, sorry about that," like that whole thing. But he's got just a fascinatingly well-rounded, and it feels like a really deep character he's created that. Just dialogue-wise, I don't think you would have had with a lesser actor. I think Josh Brolin kind of makes the character as good as he is.
Yeah, that one.
And I think you could say that. I think you could say that for both Alejandro and Matt. It's
that was my other guy. Alejandro is kind of my perfect example of like a non-cop character that you can make that is badass in every right. Like he has all the skill sets. He is, not necessarily the hero. He's not even really an kind of an anti-hero, but also you don't like him at certain points. It's like he's
he's
everything all in one, and that's why I think I will go for him as my character, because if I didn't, I would go for him for performance. But I really want to give Emily Blunt the performance here. Like,
she's good.
Like,
she's very good.
The facial acting she has to do, all of the emotions she has to one, be shocked to learn all of this new information and like be like, wait, what the her world is changing, and then she has to go through some pretty traumatic experiences and act through those. And I don't know, just I thought that she did very, very well for me. And there's only like 2 really likable characters in the entire movie, and it's Kate and Reggie. It is Emily Blunt and Daniel Kaluuya. I feel like those are the only 2 people you can be like, I'm kind of fully behind you guys.
They are good people. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And especially given the like division they're in, they're cops, but they're hostage rescue cops.
Yeah.
Like they go and they save people who have been kidnapped, and that's like a specific kind of cop I can get behind. You know,
the closest
that's
to like
kind
vigilante
of what,
is like,
yeah.
I don't know, like,
and it's like it's also like what cops should be for. You know, like saving people, not you know, like that makes sense to me. So like they are easy to get behind. And I went Reggie for my character. I went Daniel Kaluuya because he's a classic sort of just it's a wonderful trope that they typically use in horror movies to kind of subvert expectations, where classically the black guy is the one who gets killed first. And when the shed exploded at the beginning, I thought it was going to be Kate's partner was immediately killed, and I was
like, did they waste this talent? I'm like, no, please don't waste Daniel.
I'm glad they
like
didn't.
That.
And so thereafter, though, they make him kind of the hyper aware one, like the audience stand-in. They make him the one that you go, he's right. Like, listen to him. Fuck. You know, like, when he's like, we should go. We don't need to be here. You know, like, I don't want to see what they've got going on. I don't want them to, you know, like, I don't want to be involved. And Kate's like, I have to see what's happening. And he's like, fuck, do you really have to, though? Like,
yeah, that was the only part of me that was like, well, I guess part of me was also thinking that she had to go to the tunnel for them to do it. But she did, like, they're already in, so like then it's like
she wants to see the mission through to the end, and I get it. You know, it's one of those like you're there, you know, you've done all this. What was it for? You have to find out what it was for, you know, or else they just came in, fucked up your life, and you don't even know why. You know, like and that's fair, but I appreciated, like, I would have been Reggie. I would have been like. Fuck no, I'm good. Bye.
Yeah, and that's why in that room they're like, he cannot go. He is the green, you know, he is a lawyer. He is too smart for this. He's like, Kate can go because we can manipulate her and she's going to follow our, you know, little playbook perfectly. But...
And to go back to the no husband, no kids thing, she has nothing to lose. She has nobody she wants to go home to. She has nothing but this. You know, so you were right. It's something they can use as manipulation if she does have it. But if she doesn't, she has nothing else. This is her life. You know, like, so like, it's just,
brutal.
it's again, double-edged sword.
Brutal.
It's the pincer movement. One way, you're fucked. The other way, you're fucked.
Yeah, and like the ultimatums that Alejandro or Matt gives people is like, you can either go to a Mexican prison, good luck, you know, there, wherever you're going to be, or you can go spend your rest of your life in an American. It's like the choices you're being given is
in a work
prison.
camp in Missouri.
Yeah, that was not, you know, oh, cool, you know.
Thank you.
Good. But, you know, those are your choices. You can either go die in the you know, that's kind of, I think if you go
he says
there,
I think he literally says it's a death
sentence.
pit.
It's like you talked, you've gone to prison, they know, see you later. I think is kind of the idea there. But then and then in the American, I think it was kind of a jab at the American, maybe a jab at the prison system. You know, a work camp. You know, not just, he didn't just say a prison in Missouri. It was a work camp, which is, they're so like disconnected. But they just say things how they are. Like, it's crazy how, like, I think it's just they've been in the game for so long that it just doesn't shock them. This is just their reality. Like it's like
No, and I mean, right after he says that, when Alejandro like sits on the guy and is like, "All right, now tell me where to go," Josh Brolin like turns around and he just kind of like smiles, looking through the windshield. He's kind of like, "Yeah,
love
here we
that.
go."
What just a classic. Like sitting in the front seat, you can only see him in the rear. He's only looking at him in the rear view mirror, and like he's just. They have that thing where it's like, we're about to interrogate this guy. You might not want to go in there because it's easier just to say you didn't see anything rather than have to lie, and then we don't see what happened, but we saw a water jug was pulled in there and what an interesting stance. He, he didn't pull out his dick, did he? Like whenever Alejandro walks up to Guillermo and like he just kind of
he just postures on him. Yeah.
What?
He's just showing him.
Like, okay.
He's pressing him, making him uncomfortable, I think that what was really, really sadistic about that whole thing too, I mean, like, this is well documented.
Like, I don't think there's any debate. There's no, like, we do this shit all the time.
No, yeah.
Like,
and this is confirmed, and specifically the CIA. Like, it is...
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the CIA does torture people, and like I don't know if you've ever heard of the torture report or anything, but it's just demented. It is so like what we would do in Iran or Iraq and Afghanistan, just so fucked up.
Very bad. But if there is a person that that is confirmed to have murdered women, children, just that is what they do. I don't give any shits if they're tortured or not. I don't care who tortures them. I don't care. Like, a swift death I would rather have just get them out. But, like, their whole game is information, and they need to get everything they need. So it's like, but...
Well, and the fact that... Well, and that was something that the torture report says, too, is that, like, we did all this, and hardly any of the information was useful. They were just telling us things they thought we wanted to hear. So
when you're dying or being tortured, like, you're going to come up with anything to just make it stop. You know, it's like, how do you know it's the truth? And like,
but they got lucky in this one. He was telling the truth. So, and I there was also the fact that they were like, even after they tortured the guy, they had to go find another guy to confirm it. Like, they were like, well, let's make sure he was telling us the truth. And the fact that before Josh Brolin's character enters the room, that other weird dude, Steve, had already fed him an entire bottle of water.
Yeah. So he
was like, "Oh man, you filled up his belly with water. How sweet of you, huh?" And then he walks in with that water jug, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, that's gonna be bad. That's gonna be bad."
You know, that's it. Being waterboarded or just. That's just gotta suck, you know? I mean, holy shit. And the little wet willy, but a hard-ass wet willy?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, I'd never thought about that as, like, a painful thing.
Get it out. Fuck, get it out.
The eyebrow, just pulling his eyebrow hair off.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he was literally pinching the skin here.
God. Yeah, like, what the fuck? How do you only know these things by doing it.
Doing them
a lot of times, I think, and that's just it is. On one hand, yes, we are torturing these very, very bad people. On the other hand, they are hanging people in their streets, mutilating them, beheading them, stuffing them in walls, and like so. It's like I don't want to defend the torture, you know. Because it is wrong.
In the context of the movie, yes. And that's the thing, is that like they're really trying to get you to ponder these moral gray areas. Like, what is right? What ends justify the means? And, you know, like what does it take to get the job done? And but ultimately, I think the point that this movie makes at the end is that like they did all this and it's not going to change.
It's like you're only making the fact that you're fighting it only makes the other side want to fight harder too. And like now it's like I haven't really looked into the current situation now, but I don't
know anything about the current drug trade
like cartels that have full on militaries now. Like, I mean, they have armored vehicles, tanks, like I don't know. That's not ever been a thing in history. I don't know, where like just non-governments have had like this shit. Like we've just gotten to a point where weapons are they're too much. You know, I don't know. It's just there's too much power in the world now, and it is just very scary because the end of this movie is it's still happening. There's nothing you can do to really stop it. And then we look at today, and it's like, did we stop it ever? Has it ever stopped? Was there ever a time in history where like we've won the war on drugs? It's over. You know,
it went from criminalized to privatized, baby.
Yeah,
that's all.
Wow, that's just sad. Yeah, that is just sad.
Yeah, no, it's so yeah, like I said, this movie it's thoroughly well done. I can watch it. It's just not quite for me, you know. I was never glued. I was never like, God, I need to know what happens next. I wasn't like at the end there, I wonder if I'm supposed to be like, God, please don't kill her, or, you know, like, because I don't feel that. I'm like, if she does, like, I get it. I get where this movie's going. Like, that's what the movie said the whole time. But in fact, she had to sign. My least favorite scenario was going to be if she refused to sign and he didn't kill her. If he'd done that, I'd have been like, now what the fuck are we doing here? You know, so like I'm glad it at least maintained
maybe his daughter,
a semblance
reminding
of narrative.
her, like him of his daughter would be the only thing to get him to be like, don't, you know, he's a killer and nothing has gotten him, you know, he even killed women and children. We saw that, you know, so like he's not scared to kill anybody, but it would have been kind of cool for him to be like, I can't, like, you're not going to make me do this. Like, you know, like if that was what he used to make her sign it instead of just the fear alone. If he was like, I don't want to be the one to kill you because it'd be like me killing my daughter, you know, sort of thing. But yeah, that last dinner, man. I mean, it's probably my favorite scene because, I mean, there is a whole lot of tension there. I love when he pulls up to the house. That's the coolest kill in the movie by far. Like there's no cooler kills than the car just slowly breaking as the dude's bleeding out, and then they're like, what the fuck's going on? And like just instantly just dropped, and I was like, okay, that was pretty sick. And then, you know, he's walking through the house, he kills a few more dudes, but then whenever he walks past the maid or whatever, and the maid like looks at him like I'm just not gonna say anything, like, yeah, you go and do what you need to do.
He's like, I have no qualms with you. You have nothing to do with this. You go ahead. And so, like, that was the other thing, is that there is a sense of, like, not honor, but, like...
He's not going to kill everyone. He's, like, he's just after the people who were involved. And, you know, his mission's over now. But, like, there's another movie. He's still in the game, you know? So, like, he doesn't get out. It's not like his mission's over. And, like, so that's... Even though that it would make sense for him to get out right after this, that's what he was in it for, and like...
He is Sicario. He's the hitman. That is what he's there for, you know, like, that's one of the cool things about this movie, too, is it's starting with that message, like, the whole, like,
an ancient...
Sicario once meant, well, I can't remember what Sicario...
used. Yeah, it was like...
Yeah, I think it was, I can't remember specifically, but it was, I feel like it was somewhere in the Middle East. I feel like is what they said at the beginning of the movie.
The Zealots, Zealots.
Jerusalem, Jerusalem, the Zealots of Jerusalem. I can't remember what it meant, but it was like the people who killed their enemies and or something like that. But and then Sicario in Spanish means hitman. And
that was
kind of watching this movie the whole time, kind of with that lens. Like, they want you pondering who the Sicario is. And I feel like there's only one, like, I hardly remember Sicario 2, so, like, I knew Alejandro's in that movie. I don't remember what he does in the movie. I don't remember shit about the movie. But... like, I was immediately like, well, Alejandro is the fucking guy, you know? Like, there's all this mystery about who he is, and nobody's being honest, and, like, that's Sicario right there. That's the man.
I got the quote at the beginning. The word Sicario comes from the Zealots of Jerusalem. And then next, it's slowly killers who hunted the Romans who invaded their homeland. Who hunted the Romans who invaded their homeland. Okay, and then in Mexico, Sicario means hitman. So that's kind of cool. I don't know, kind of a. It was just a badass way to open up the movie. It's like, oh, like kind of okay. And I never thought of it as like, who is the hitman of the movie, and until like now. But that's like the title of a movie. I don't know. I never really think about it.
Well, and that's the thing, is usually it's a little more
on the nose, or like
on the nose, like you know what the fuck it means. Yeah,
or,
like it's one of those things. But like when it came to this one, I was intrigued by specifically the introduction of it. I wouldn't have thought anything of it had they not done that quote at the beginning, because now even realizing that the first part was the Romans who invaded their homelands, that hunted the Romans who invaded their homeland. That's what he's doing. That's what Alejandro is doing, is hunting the people who killed his family.
America, we have to be engaged first. You know, that's usually our playbook. But
yeah, that scene was fucked. One guy pulls a gun and everybody in the car dies.
They all had guns. You know, they did all have guns. So like, and they were just hiding them. It's like, what do you? That's just. I mean, what do you do? Do you like? I don't know.
Well, and that's one of my favorite scenes from Emily Blunt, is when she's like, "What the fuck are we doing here?"
Yeah,
you know, like that's
civilians are everywhere, and it's like, but
because the engagement was them getting out of their car or them opening the door. Like he didn't even get out yet. And, like he opened the door and there was like, "Get on him."
There was one dude that was out standing, and like, you know,
they
like,
didn't
don't.
Get like
he said, "Don't, like, don't." You know, and then he made the first movement, and that's when they killed that car. But the other car, I think, was just like a, and then, you know, everyone just gunned down. But that's the gray area, though. It's like you have to be engaged first, but then if they engage first, then they risk killing even more civilian. You know, it's like, do you just get rid of these two cars, or do you let there be a battle and let a lot of other civilians go? War just sucks, you know? There is no clear, like, answer. And being the good guys, the guys that have to follow the rules of war, you know, or whatever, it's like, when you're at war, really? Like, are there any rules that anyone really follow? Like, sure, we banned some things in the past, some things we can't use anymore, but, like, if it were to go to shit and we're all fighting, and you use that, we're already at war. What more can you know, what other level can you bring it to? That's why, I mean, like, it is just fuck. Like, there's no answer. It feels like it is a timeless battle. Like, there is, as long as humans do their thing, I don't know, it's what we'll do. We are territorial creatures. And it takes just that small group to make the whole rest of the population be territorial. But yeah, that's why I don't know. I go back and forth on this movie. I love how it's done. I love all how it's shot, how it's performed, everything about it. But like, just the story, I don't know, in itself is just, I guess, a story I would have stayed away from before, you know, and like,
no, so like but it was one of those things where, like, as I was watching it, I was like, well, it makes sense why I've never been drawn to this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things that I'm not... It's not my kind of movie. It's fine. It's good. It's well done. I don't love it. I like it for how good it's done, but I don't...
Like, because I said to you in text, like, I'd rather want, like, a sci-fi war where you can easily apply it to the real world sort of thing. But this just takes out the middleman. You know, it's like, here's what the fuck's going on. Now you think how you want to, you know, like, make your own assertions on it now. I think, and that's a lot of Denis Villeneuve's, like, strategy in filmmaking is just, we're gonna show you everything that's happening. We're not gonna exposition drop a whole lot. It's just, we're gonna let the actors do their thing. And I feel like he at least makes me feel like an important to the movie, the audience, the viewer. Like every time I watch one of his movies, it feels like he is speaking to the audience, you know, like, and it's not, I guess every movie that is kind of the point, but it feels more personal with him. It feels like he is trying to send a message very, very clearly in every single one of the movies I've seen so far, of his. So, I mean, I am myself. I'm diving into him. I just don't know where to start, if I should just go all the way back. But I mean, I'm liking Villanueva a lot right now. I've heard like Prisoners, Enemy, and Polytechnique. I guess, and Cindy's too. I mean, there's a lot that I have like that just sound really, really cool from him. And seeing a movie like Sicario, in which it's a movie that I wouldn't really care for, but he made it so good that at least I was in for it during the time. I won't watch it again, I don't think, but like when I watched it, I had a it's like it was good. Like I have no real complaints.
2 hours passed. I'd watched the movie and I was like, cool. I'm glad I've watched it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I have a certain degree of respect for the filmmaking and the craft here, but beyond that, it wasn't personally appealing. I love Benicio del Toro. I love Josh Brolin. I love Emily Blunt. I love Daniel Kaluuya. Like it's a bunch of performers that I really, really enjoy. So that's just like, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, what more can you really want? I think that, and it's not that the story is bleak that ends up not appealing to me. I really think it is just the essence of I don't know how to articulate it. It's just that, like, when it comes to crime movies, this isn't the type of crime that I'm interested in.
It's nice to have a revolutionary or someone who is actively trying to fix the situation. You know, like, even if it's unrealistic, like, obviously the war on drugs did not end by a single FBI agent being like, hey, they're doing some wrong things. Look into this. This is illegal. They should stop. You know, if she does do that, if she doesn't sign it, she goes home and she's like, hey, look at what's happening. Nothing's going to happen anyways, you know? Like, she might die.
She would have gotten shot in the head.
Well, so I guess, like, say the worst ending happens. He doesn't pull the trigger and she doesn't sign it. And she is left to her own whatever.
Well, that was one of my other things, too, is that structurally for the movie, one of the things that kind of told on itself, which I didn't love, was the movie's kind of trapping itself. She has to sign. She has to live through this, or else we do this additional couple minutes to deal with Reggie.
There would have had to been something else after that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, this is the end, you know, like, you know, this is the end of the movie. So it's one of those things where it's like, is the inevitability part of the thing they're going for, or is it a consequence of filmmaking, you know?
I think it's what they're going for. I think, like, it is to show that no matter how good someone comes in at the very beginning, you know, it's the right reasons. She is, you know, both Reggie and Kate are coming in for the right reasons. They're by the book. They're trying to save people. But then once you're enveloped in this world, you see how unstoppable it is, so you stop that. And you just think it's reality, so that's how I have to deal with it. And yeah, I don't... A lone person, like, it is that is the reality. Like, how much could Kate or Reggie, even if they teamed up, how much could they really do?
Yeah, no, and yeah, that's bleak as shit. So, like,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I mean, I like bleak movies. It's not like this is a movie that I'm like, oh, it ended so bleakly. I don't love that. I could tell that this wasn't my kind of movie 30 minutes into the movie, and I tried not to decide that, but I was like, 30 minutes in, I was texting you, and I was like, yeah, I mean, like, it's good. I can tell it's good, but,
like, Dune 2...
There's not much here for me.
Ends very bleakly, you know? Send them to paradise, you know? And you're like, fuck. You're like, holy shit. You're like, no, that is not what but you have Parasite. Okay.
Parasite ends bleak as shit.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know?
Like it's
The Irishman ends bleak as shit. There's all sorts of stuff that is bleak as shit that I love. You know, like I adore movies that can like that's not the element of the movie that I don't like. It is that's why it's hard to articulate is because
where does it lie? Yeah, where
I'm
is
like
the...
I think it is because it's a mix of a war movie, a crime movie, and like there are drug movies like even like Scarface. I wouldn't say I liked Scarface as much as this. I would definitely say I had a more fun time with Scarface.
That's
you
true.
know, like
Definitely. Yeah.
there's you know Taxi Driver, bleak as shit. You know, like that's kind of one of those ones that I like. So it's just weird. It's weird to decide where it stands and how I feel about it because I know I liked it for the literal quality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, it's not something that was designed specifically for me. Like, it's almost one of those ones that I'd rather watch on fucking mute. You know?
Yeah, it is
like
visually just very pretty and
I think the story comes across very, very fervently visually.
It's,
so like it's just
and I think that's what Denis excels at. He can just take any story really and just make it critically good enough to where it doesn't really matter. I mean, it is just kind of a movie
and
movie
you know,
at the end
mute
of the day. But
on mute was extreme. I loved the score. I thought the sound
they're
design
trying
was
to make
very
them,
good.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's just technically it's really well done. And on paper, I would think I'd like it more than I do. But yeah, I just come away on it. You know, like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's solid.
I'm right there with you.
But does that mean we're ready for a rating? You think?
I think we are. Yeah, I think we've gotten everything. Unless you've chosen a scene. I don't know. That's the only blacked out thing. But that's the hardest. The Last Supper, even for me, it was like I don't even know if I like that scene really. Like
I think I'm gonna take a stand and say I don't have a favorite scene in this movie. Like that's one of the things that like that's interesting. Like it's a plus and a minus. You know, like for me, it's just that. It's a fascinating movie where it feels like it never slows down, but it never picks up. Yeah. It's very just event. Here's things that happened, and it's not like there's a great piece of screenwriting advice that I really enjoy. That's just like if you're connecting the beats of your story, and in between those beats comes and then, you've done something wrong. It should be therefore or but. So it's like this happens, therefore this happens, but then this happens. You know, like it's cause and effect. These things and I think that this movie does a very good job at that. It does do a lot of the therefore and but and stuff like that. So like it is a natural progression, but there's no rise, there's no fall for me. It just kind of is, and that's not, and again, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing for the movie. I think it affects my enjoyment of it. I don't think it affects the quality so much. Yeah. I think the fact that the movie is as steadily paced and interesting as it is a plus for the quality of the film. But I do think that it affects me being like, just kind of like, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it really
like,
is
just keeps going. Just keeps going.
We got the brother. Hey, come out. Look on the roof. Look what happens whenever we take someone out. Fire, just firefight. So like they do a lot of the therefore and buts, which is nice. Or like, hey, let's go out to a bar and have just a nice normal night. Look what happens whenever you're in this world. And so I mean,
but they run into this guy, and therefore this must happen. And like it's just. Yeah, it's an interesting movie. Well enough written, I would say, I don't think it's like exquisitely well written. I would say that that's the weakest part of the movie, and I put weakest in quotes because it's like it's not particularly weak at all. It's just that like there's a bunch of other stuff that technically is very good about the movie. So like I don't know. Yeah. That's where I'm at. But before we rate this thing, I'm going to go ahead and do the plugs. Stick around if you want to hear where this comes on a scale of 1 to 10. But if you would, head to patreon.com/pennybloom-pod, where you'll find over 100 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of books reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, music reviews, and early access content. For $1.50 a month, you can have access to it all. A bunch of written content, a bunch of audio content, and the early access stuff is available for you in video and audio. And this is coming out almost a month ahead of time over on Patreon. So patreon.com/pennybloom-pod. You could have been in the know a little bit earlier. But yeah, if you would, head to Twitter, follow @pennybloom-pod, follow on Instagram and TikTok @pennybloom-podcast. You can watch on YouTube now. I got a nice little vinyl on display today. It's called "It's Almost Dry" by Pusha T, my favorite Coke rapper of all time. Felt fitting.
Yeah, that works.
It's Coke rap, great genre of rap, and Pusha T about as good at it as anybody. So got that on display. Few books, nice little. It's a lot, and you can watch it on YouTube. Just look up Penny Bloom Podcast, and we're there. But yeah, leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening, and download the episodes. We're doing a little better than we were the first couple months of the year, which is good. Not a ton better, but a little better. I really like to see that. And if you could, just do me one little favor. If you liked the episode, go ahead and slide it to somebody you know. Be like, hey, you never heard of these guys, but they're pretty cool. They got some good shit going on. Check it out. Show us to one person. I'd appreciate it immensely. But yeah, let's go ahead and rate this bad boy. How are we feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 enjoyment-wise?
Well, it's more than middle of the road, I feel like. But because my gut went to somewhere in the 5s or 6s. It's a little bit better than middle of the road because of how well it's done, not because of what I see. So, I think, every other movie we've covered, the lowest number we've given is a 7 for enjoyment, and that's Akira and The Raid. And I enjoy both of those movies more. That's for sure. So 7 is definitely the ceiling. So it's in the 6s or 5s. I think I might just be kind of at a 6 or a 5.75 is kind of where.
Yeah,
I go.
it's definitely above average. I would go high 6s. I think that the things I like about it, I don't know. The things I like about it are on the critical side. So it's
that's
how does
why
that affect...
the only thing that's boosting the enjoyment for me is the critical side, which I think can happen, but
no, yeah, and it certainly possesses a degree of importance. That's why, for me, the floor is 6. I can't take it below 6 for how good the movie is.
Feels about right.
That's
a 6, but a whole point below Akira and not hard-boiled.
The Raid.
The Raid. Maybe not a whole point. That is.
Yeah, my gut took me more 6.5, 6.75 personally. I didn't think I liked it much less than those, because there's kind of Akira is probably its most interesting comparison for me, where on paper all the technical aspects of it are so fucking fantastic. It's just something was left to be desired for me, and I can't really articulate what it was.
And we gave that a 7, so
yeah,
a lot more moving parts there, though. There's a shit ton
and
going
a lot
on
more
Akira.
fun stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's where The Raid and Akira excel. So I'm willing to give this a little bit of a punishment in the enjoyment category for it. So 6.5 feels right to me.
I'm
cool with that.
I like that. Okay, because critically, I think it will do pretty well. As far as The Raid is concerned,
this is a better movie than The Raid.
It's better. Hard Boiled.
What do we give Hard Boiled?
An 8.25. We're getting there. That might be it. That might kind of be close.
No, my gut took me to an 8.5 on the quality of this movie. Yeah, and it's good. It is it is a good film, you know? Like, that's the thing that I can't really say one way or the other that anything was particularly bad about it, you know? Like I said, I loved the score. I thought the editing was solid. The cinematography was incredible. The performances are really good. The direction's really good. The writing's the only thing that I feel like could have been better, but even then, it's a Denis Villeneuve film, so he's communicating a lot of stuff visually that otherwise a script can't really do as effectively. So it's just like, this movie works as good as it possibly can because Denis Villeneuve directed it.
Yeah, I watched a little video of just his favorite shots of his movies that he's done, and it was for Dune 2 promotion, and it was my shot that I picked whenever they're kind of walking below the horizon. And he said he did it because he's like, they're walking into like hell. They're going into a lawless land. Like they are doing something illegal. Like that is why they are like disappearing from reality, as he called it. I'm just like, oh my God. Like you think like that of every shot you do, you know, like that's just crazy.
There's
like
so much he communicates through
that.
visual. Like it's really impressive what he can do as a visual filmmaker, you know? So like, that's why I'm more than willing to give this the benefit of the doubt. I think it's an incredibly well done movie, and an 8.5 was where my gut took me. But I wouldn't hesitate to call it better than Akira. I wouldn't hesitate to call it an 8.75.
The next jump that would be John Wick 4. We gave John Wick 4 an 8.75.
I would say for John Wick's faults, I would say this is every bit as good a movie as John Wick 4. And again, if not better. Like it is a good fucking movie. That is the one thing that like I've never had quite as strong a dissonance for how much I like a movie versus how good it is. Like usually if a movie is as good as this movie is, I love it.
I'd say it's better than Akira. I would put it above Akira critically, barely, and tie it with. I think 8.75 is kind of where I lie. At first, I'm like, ooh, John Wick 4, that's tough. That's going to be a tough barrier. But then, like, it's where Akira kind of fell, where the story just got a lot muddled and, like, there was just a lot going on. I felt like I was a little confused. There was no confusion here. You know, there was...
No, it's
simple. And John Wick 4, you know, kind of, it's just badass, made very, very well. You're not
like, the only thing I
confused.
could say about John Wick 4 that this movie doesn't have is that John Wick 4 you could argue is bloated. Like it's too long. Like there's a lot going on. There's too much. So like that's my thing is that like I could hear that out, and that's one of those things where like it's for me it's 8.75,
9,
if not a 9, and 8.75 I'm very comfortable with, so I won't take it to a 9. But
well, an 8.75 gives an 8 flat overall. A 9 would give it an 8.17. So an 80. The difference between an 80 and an 82%.
I'm cool with the 8.75 then, giving it the 80. The 80% feels good. It's a good movie. It
ties with Die Hard overall and Akira. All of those are 8 flats. So Die Hard, Akira, and now Sicario, all very like Die Hard. That was an 8.5 enjoyment, but a 7.75, you know, critically.
Critical.
And like we have kind of every version of an 8 that we could kind of get.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I don't know if there's another combination we can make, probably, but I mean there definitely is. Math will work out that way. But as far as another movie that I don't know, it's gonna be rare to get another 8. But okay,
yeah, I mean we got RRR and Fury Road left on this project, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I think those will fare a little better. Than an 8, if I had to guess myself.
I'm ready. I'm ready for. I mean, the action. It's been a genre that I've just kind of stayed away from. I don't know why. And now that I see police are just kind of in every single movie, you know, maybe that's why. I don't know, but Mad Max, there's no police there, so that's good. You know, at least.
I mean, there are police in RRR, but they're not like the heroes of the movie. So like that's
cool.
That's RRR like. I'm excited for RRR this Friday. I've only ever watched it once. I fucking adored it, so I'm really excited to revisit it. That's one that I'm so ready for. So at an 8 out of 10, we will conclude this episode of Sicario. Definitely the outlier I would say, in terms of tone and type of action film.
Yeah.
That and Akira definitely don't fit the same mold as a lot of these other ones. And Fury Road also doesn't, but in its own, like in a completely different way.
Yeah, we got a wide range. We've got every kind of action movie there kind of is. So I'm glad we did stop all around the world and get all these different takes on action. It is pretty cool.
Yes, indeed.
So.
But yeah, then that will conclude this episode, and we will be continuing our action movie galore project this Friday with RRR. I'm so very excited for that. Nice Indian action film that is fucking awesome, quite the epic. And then next Monday, we will top it off with Mad Max Fury Road, which happens to be the 5-year anniversary of the Penny Bloom podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited for that. But, yeah, with that, we will also be continuing our Anya Taylor-Joy Spotlight. That'll be Wednesday, where we will be covering Mark Mylod's The Menu, 2022 class commentary. Very, very excited about that. So yeah, The Menu, RRR, Fury Road, and then Furiosa.
Mm-hmm.
Next 4 episodes, next week and a half, baby. That's what we've got going on. And we look forward to you joining us for all of the above. Yeah. I think that's that. And with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And you're asking me how a watch works. For now, we'll just keep an eye on the time.